All right, so the average Southwest Airlines passenger spent an estimated $400 out of pocket on expenses associated with delays and cancellations over the holidays. Now many travelers are looking for compensation, and it's projected to cost the airline upward of $400 million. So for more on what's next for travelers and the airline, we're going to bring in CBS Senior Travel Advisor Peter Greenberg. Yeah, I remember seeing that mess at the airport. I was so happy that I drove for the holidays. What are Southwest passengers actually entitled to, though?
Well, here's the bad news going into this. There is no federal mandate, regulation, or law requiring Southwest to do anything here. Remember, there is no passenger bill of rights here. However, in this situation, the U.S. Department of Transportation has essentially put Southwest Airlines on notice that they did violate their customer service agreement in this situation by not fulfilling their mission statement, and they fully expect them to reimburse passengers. Southwest, of course, has basically said they would reimburse quote unquote reasonable expenses. We don't know what the definition of reasonable is. However, when you deal with accommodations, meals, in some cases clothing, because people were stranded for a number of days without their bags, toiletries, and then, of course, alternate forms of transportation. People who had to go out and buy expensive one-way tickets on other airlines, assuming there was even space, or rent expensive rental cars to either get home or to where they were trying to go in the first place.
Okay, though, what is the airline actually required to do, and what will they actually do?
Well, let me tell you what they're probably going to do.
Okay.
And that is the U.S. Department of Transportation has, again, put them on notice. There's a very good chance that the U.S. DOT will come in with an enforcement action here, which means a large proposed fine. And that's one of the reasons why Southwest Airlines is starting to write refund checks and reimbursement checks now to try to do an advanced action, if you will, to mitigate what they think is going to be a pretty large fine.
So let's talk about passengers, though. What can they learn from this experience? I mean, it's one thing to sort of fight to get your money back, but, for a lot of people, this ruined their holiday.
Oh, it did. And here's the problem. What you learn from this, lowered expectations, of course, and also plan for a plan B and C.
Yeah.
Most people didn't have that, and they didn't have a chance to make alternate plans. That's number one. Number two, remember, if the airline is offering you, let's say, in return for your problems, frequent flyer miles, that's not really adequate, because most of the passengers that we're talking about during the holidays may only fly Southwest Airlines once or twice in a year, and that's during holiday periods, the worst time you could ever try to redeem those miles. What is needed here is a couple of checks that actually begin to approach what people actually were spending out of their pocket during this time.
Let me ask you, when you're in the middle of that, when you're stuck at the airport and you're trying to get something out of the airline to make your journey a little more comfortable, I mean, how far can you push? If they say, we'll give you X, can you say, no, I want Z, and maybe you'll get something in the middle?
Well, right now, pushing back is the way to go, simply because the airline's on notice from the DOT that they have to come up with adequate and sufficient reimbursement. So every case is individual. It's going to take some time. But the one thing passengers had to have learned from this is to develop a paper trail. Keep all your receipts. Make sure you get the names, first and last names and titles of anybody you spoke to at the airline, so you can basically file a complaint with the U.S. DOT if you don't get satisfaction elsewhere.
That's really good advice, Peter. Thank you.